What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, sport events, and much, much more. Please note, when I do anything sports related and I don't react to videos, I go live on TikTok, which I cannot react or I cannot interact, and I cannot accept you on my TikTok live, as I'm also pre-recording as well for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, BitChute, Twitter, Twitch, and the audio version goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much, much more. So I apologize. Anybody who tries to come into my TikTok live and wants me to accept them, I cannot accept you. Not only because I'm pre-recording, I cannot reach my phone as far as my hand goes. I'm not Victor Wembanyama. I don't got a 7-foot wingspan, but I'm about to get into Victor Wembanyama, and I want to get into the Chris Paul trade, which makes no sense. I'm gonna go over I'm not gonna go over all of the NBA draft picks. Of course, Victor Wembanyama went number one to the Spurs. People are trying to predict what they think he's going to average the first year out the gate. I'm thinking 22, 10, and like 3 blocks a game. Easy. Charlotte Hornets took Brandon Miller, which I am not cool with that. I didn't want Brandon Miller. Um, really makes no sense. There's a lot that doesn't make sense. Brandon Miller to Charlotte. I'm not convinced that this guy is a All NBA player and an All Star caliber player. And you're taking him at number 2. Scoot Henderson, who did go at number 3, I'm convinced he's an all-star and all-NBA caliber player. But I'm also confused of why Portland Trailblazers would keep him. Because there's a question. Can Scoot Henderson and Dave Miller coexist? No. Not at all. Not at all, man. So we're going to have 2 6'2" point guards in the backcourt, because I think that's what Dame Lillard is. Let me see how tall Dame Lillard is. Dame Lillard is 6'2". So we're literally, and this is the thing. Scoot Henderson is a bigger, stronger 6'2". Yeah, you don't got the jump shot Dame Lillard has, but he's bigger and stronger, and I think will have an impact already out the gate. It just doesn't make sense. This is really interesting right here. 4th and 5th, the Thompson twins went back to back, and I had a feeling they were going to go back to back. I had a feeling the other twin would go right behind him. I think this is big. I mean, I think this is very big that 2 twins go top 5 in the NBA draft. Both 6'7", 200 and 205 pounds. One's a guard and a forward. The other's a guard. The Rockets got Amin Thompson. He's a 6'7" guard. I'm a little confused. I mean, I guess they're gonna put him at small forward because you got Jalen Green, and I don't know if he's a point guard or a shooting guard. That's the thing. I don't know much about the Thompson twins. So I don't know if he's a point guard or a shooting guard. If he's a point guard, then they can get rid of Kevin Porter Jr. if this guy is actually better. The Pistons, they got a lot of good young pieces, but we got to put Cade Cunningham in the mix, a healthy Cade Cunningham, and see what that becomes. Orlando Magic, they took Anthony Black, 6'5" guard, which means somebody's on the way out. Either Jalen Suggs. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Jalen Suggs is on the way out. Because right now they got Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, and Anthony Black. That's 5 guards, man. You don't need that many guards. And they picked another guard at 11, Jet Howard, a 6'8" guard. So 2 guards are probably on the way out. I would probably say it's probably going to be Gary Harris and Jalen Suggs. Markel Fultz started last year. I don't know why they would move off from him. That wouldn't make sense at all. Um, I really don't know what the Wizards are doing. Actually, I know what the Wizards are doing. The Wizards are full tanking. That's why they traded their number 8 pick to Indiana, because they're trying to be the worst team in the league next year so they can just get the number 1 overall pick. They're really tanking. OKC traded the 12th pick to Dallas, which was Derek Lively the second from Duke, and he's a center. That makes a lot of sense from Dallas. Dallas needs a big man. And I ain't a Duke fan, so I didn't really watch this cat, but he's a 7'1" center. I think that makes all the sense for Duke. Grady Dick went to Toronto. He had the suit that was inspired by, I forgot who it was. And I skipped over a few picks. Indiana. Okay, Indiana traded. Okay, Washington really kind of traded up 1 pick, basically. Washington got traded the 8th pick for the 7th pick. I mean, they only went up 1. Well, Washington drafted the guy from. They traded for the guy that plays with Victor Wembanyama. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good anybody else on Victor Wembanyama's team is going to be, but like the gap between Victor Wembanyama and the next best player. This kid looks super young though. He's 6'6", 195 pounds. Played on the same team as Victor Wembanyama. I guess it was worth it. I'm not seeing a lot of like names in this draft that really just stands out that is going to be such a difference maker. Nets had back-to-back picks at 21 and 22nd. They took Alabama forward and Duke guard. So, yeah, like, it's not like normally when you get through these drafts, like some of these players later on really pan out to be better. But like most of these players are so young nowadays. You don't know what none of these cats are going to be. That's why I think the NBA needs to go ahead and do what the NFL does. And they need to make it where these players got to play 3 years before they come to the pros. Like none of these guys, except Victor Wembanyama, is going to change the fortune of their teams instantly. Like, can Victor Wembanyama get the Spurs into the play-in tournament instantly? I'm saying it's possible. Is Brandon Miller going to automatically change the face of my Charlotte Hornets overnight? Hell nah. Y'all done up and done it. It ain't no way, no how. Is Scoot Henderson going to change the faces of Portland Trailblazers overnight? No, he's not. Amin Thompson to the Rockets. They're still going to be one of the worst teams in the league. You know, they still have no. This is the thing, man. Like, only teams with veteran experience win championships. All of the teams that were in the playoffs last year had veteran experience. There was no super young team in the playoffs last year. Because I'm sorry, did Oklahoma City Thunder make the playoffs and I not know about it? No, they didn't. You know, even when you get to like the T-Wolves, Karl-Anthony Towns is a vet at this point. Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards is the only young piece on that team really at this point. None of these young guys are going to do anything for any team as far as them winning now. They're not going to make a difference now. We need to just make it where these guys got to stay 3 years. Then you really know what they are after 3 years. But, yeah, like they're coming in too young, and most of these cats are not going to pan out because we don't know if they could be. They're just too damn young. You need to see what they need. They need 3 years under their belt of college to really see what they're going to be. If you're not dominating college after 3 years, why the hell would I think you're going to come into pros and dominate? All right, let me get into Chris Paul. Chris Paul to the Warriors makes no sense. The only way it makes sense is if you're trading Klay Thompson. Or you're moving Klay Thompson to small forward and bringing Wiggins off the bench. But as much as you're paying Wiggins, why the hell would you bring him off the bench? Why would you? Wiggins is going to be making more than Klay Thompson probably coming up in this near future. Why the hell would you have him coming off the bench? I think they're in a big decision they got to decide, man. And I think it's time to move off from Klay Thompson. And I'm sorry, but whoever's trying to come in on my TikTok live, once again, my arm does not reach that far. I don't got a 7-foot wingspan. And I'm also pre-recording, so I can't interact with you. I apologize, but I can't interact with you while I'm pre-recording, and my arm isn't long enough to accept you. My cell phone is pre-recording right over there. I can't reach. So, yeah. I mean, I keep trying to do it, but I don't have go-go gadget arms. When I get go-go gadget arms, then I can, do it. Otherwise, I'd have to bring the phone like smack dab in my face right here. So, yeah. Chris Paul to the Warriors makes no sense. Unless Klay is being traded. Chris Paul coming off the bench, I don't really see Chris Paul being happy coming off the bench. Even though he does win a championship, he ain't winning no championship with the Warriors. Like, it makes no sense. So they're getting smaller and older. Smaller and older. I mean, what team in the NBA is trying to get smaller and older? This makes no sense. If somebody posted on Facebook, well, this is kind of like a D'Angelo Russell thing. Okay, well, the problem is with that is Chris Paul is getting older. The value of Chris Paul is going down. It's decreasing. D'Angelo Russell is still young. He's still a pretty good trade asset. I don't think at this point, Chris Paul is not going nowhere and winning a championship. Unless it's probably like the Milwaukee Bucks or something. That's about it. Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, back to Phoenix, Denver Nuggets. Unless he's going to one of the top 2 teams in each conference, Chris Paul ain't winning no championship. Chris Paul to the Lakers does not move the needle past the Suns and the Nuggets. Because, who else is getting older too? LeBron James. And you know who else is getting older too? Anthony Davis, who's not getting no healthier. Who hasn't shown no signs to take the baton from LeBron James and run with it. Anthony Davis has clearly shows you that he cannot be the leader on a championship team as of yet. And I don't think he will be able to show you that because he clearly is not better than Nikola Jokic. He's clearly not better than Jokic. He's clearly not better than Embiid or Giannis. The top 3 players in the league right now are all international players. This is another reason why America has a development problem. These cats are just going to 1 year of college and not dominating nothing. Not even dominating with their weak division. And we're automatically assuming that they're going to be somebody great. Like, the NBA is drafted on projection at this point and not actual skills and talent right now. That's the thing. NFL, when they draft players, they're drafted of how good they are right now and how good they could be. NBA is clearly going off of how good they could be. And solely that's it. Because none of these guys This is another reason why we got to stop with this Michael Jordan is not the GOAT narrative. And this is another reason why you probably need to stay 3 years and then come out. Michael Jordan came out the league as a junior. As a junior. Now, when Michael Jordan came into the league, which would have been his senior year in college, he was averaging 28 points a game out the gate. Just like that. Straight out the gate. Just punching them in the mouth. 28 points a game. None of these high school guys coming out, none of these guys coming out of high school, one and done, are averaging 28 points a game their third year in the league. None of them. None of them. You know, that's why Luka Doncic actually played pro ball before he came in. Wembanyama played pro ball before he came in. Scoot Henderson played the closest thing to pro ball. Like, Brandon Miller was, he was going off in college. Scoot Henderson was going off in the G League, which is guys who are been in the pros, back and forth in the pros, who've made pro teams and got put down to the G League. These guys have pro contracts. G Leaguers have pro contracts because they're basically development teams for pro teams. You know, so we have a development problem. We have a rush in the process problem. We need to definitely not have one and dones. Even like, look at all the guys that came straight out of high school. Only a handful of them instantly was doing their thing in the league. Moses Malone, Kevin Garnett, LeBron James. That's really it. Kobe Bryant took 2 or 3 years. You know, Tracy McGrady. I mean, all these cats that come out in the league, you know, straight out of high school, none of them really did like that except LeBron, Moses, and Kevin Garnett. That's it. They need to go to college longer. They need to develop their game more. We need to stop. That's the problem with the draft, man. You're drafting a bunch of young dudes that you expecting to go up against grown men who've been in the league for 10 years and actually do something. Stop it. Chris Paul to the Warriors makes no sense. I thought there would have been a lot more big draft. Not drafts, but a big trades on draft night. Besides just the picks themselves being traded. But it seems like so far we got as Chris Paul to the Warriors, Porzingis to the Celtics, and Bradley Beal to the Suns. That doesn't really move the needle, man. Like, for the Celtics, it might get them out the East again and into the finals. For the Suns, I don't think it gets them out the West. Still, they got to move DeAndre Ayton. They move DeAndre Ayton, see what we get for DeAndre Ayton. Then I'll go back and reassess of is the Suns the favorite or not. But right now, I got Denver number 1 in the West, Suns number 2. I got Celtics number 1 in the East, and the Bucks number 2. And I think the Bucks still got to make a move. And everybody's saying the Sixers still got to make a move, but I don't see what move the Sixers are going to make that's going to put them over the hump. And as far as my Charlotte Hornets, I'm so disappointed in you. So disappointed in you. You took Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson. You could have just got Scoot Henderson, told LaMelo Ball scoot over to the 2 guard. You know, he's 6'7". He can play 2 guard. And then you have 2 guys in the backcourt that can facilitate the offense at any point. I have no faith in Charlotte Hornets. Even though we got new ownership and J. Cole is one of the smaller owners of the ownership group, I have zero faith in Charlotte Hornets ownership, management. Man. If Brandon Miller does not pan out, Charlotte Hornets we're going to be the laughing stock of the NBA for a long, long, long time. Once again, thank you for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast. And I'm out.